Hi everybody, today's guest is Dave Goodchild. Dave, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Looking forward to this interview. It's good to see your face. Yeah, everything's good.
Yeah, this has been really interesting because I've only seen 1.5 people's face in the last 60 days, I think it is, in lockdown, apart from via a Zoom call or a WhatsApp call or anything like that. It's a bit mad, isn't it?
It is. That's the only way I'm seeing people now. I'm isolated at home, obviously getting out once a day on my bike for some exercise, FaceTime, WhatsApp and Zoom is my new best friend, and that's how I'm communicating with people all across the world.
Yeah, it's great. And this week we've got great coaches this week, you know, like yourself, Wade, Gareth from Durham University, but we've also got people from Sunderland Football Club, from Birmingham City Football Club, and a variety of other world-class coaches. We've got a guy who not only played at Wimbledon, but owns his own academy in Soto Grande in Spain, and we'll look at him, his development, his understanding of culture and what he does as well. And that's probably what I want to start off with you today with, is talking about your transition, because you used to play football, is that right?
Yeah, I did. I played football all my life from when I was 5 years old all the way through. Was at Middlesbrough Academy from when I was 11 to 15. Got released from there. Never played for a year and a half because I hated football, and then started playing again back at college, Longlands College, where we won the national final. And then long story short, signed for Whitby Town at 18 years old, played there for 9 years, moved to Gateshead, played there a year, and Spennymoor, plus a few other clubs after that. But so I had a great football career. Why my volleyball career in the background was developing from an age of 16, 17.
Okay, why volleyball? Because there's lots of sports out there, obviously in the northeast of England. What made you pick volleyball?
So when I was at college, when I worked, it was Longlands College at the time. I actually played from 16, 17 when I stopped playing football. So I thought, I'll play volleyball. We actually went on to win a national final down in Nottingham, funnily enough. And then I went to university, got my bachelor degree in sport and exercise science. And when I came back to work at the college, I was already head of football. But I knew there was 3 or 4 really talented volleyball players. So I started to take the volleyball team. As time progressed, I did my level 1, level 2, level 3. And as things started to improve, I actually merged Newcastle, Darlington and Middlesbrough Volleyball Club into one. And we all played out of the college. And this is where we started to progress. I went on to run different coaching courses, completed my international level 1, FIVB, level 2 and level 3. So definitely one of the top 10 qualified coaches in the country. Did my FIVB setter qualification, which is specific to the playmaker. And then wanted to get further advanced. So I went to Sheffield and Leeds and England. So I watched Audrey Cooper, Simon Loftus and Keith Trenham, who are 3 of the best coaches in the country, all with different strengths, which I took away from. Developing that, Audrey Cooper, the Great Britain coach, started to invite me down one day a week to help out with the Great Britain team building up for 2012. And at the same time, I'd just taken my whole club to Northumbria University. So things were developing quickly. And ended up coaching at the 2012 Olympic Games, assistant coach to Audrey Cooper, walking out against the Russians. And I was the smallest person compared to the whole Russian team. And I'm 6'2", so you can imagine the size on them. Northumbria went on to win over 35 national titles and sent 35 to 40 players playing professional volleyball. So from that perspective, it was fantastic. And then moving on, jumping anytime, took the England national team job for, I think it was 3.5, 4 years, played international competitions abroad, developed the youngsters, and went abroad for a year after Northumbria to coach in the States. And then Quinton got me back at Durham, and here I am.
Wow, brilliant. What a career. And what really interests me is this transition we talked about at the beginning, about from football to volleyball. And I guess within any philosophy and any successful person, passion has to play a major role. And when I listened to you talk there, Dave, about the fact that you've done this qualification and you went and did this, and then you went and learned more, there's a passion there with you in volleyball. How did that come about then? Because for me, as a tennis player, tennis was always pretty much my love, but it was almost my life as well. I love football as a fan. I played it as a kid and played to a relatively high level as well, and played in the States for 2 years. But tennis was always my real passion. When I got my first shoulder injury and I knew that was my career done, and I wasn't going to be able to make it to the level that I wanted to play at anymore, then actually I tried to do some other things. So I did a triathlon, didn't like it. Did a half marathon, didn't like it. Couldn't find anything which almost mimicked my love of tennis. So you making that love of volleyball pretty much bigger maybe than as a coach than football. How did that come about, and how did you really drive that yourself as a coach?
Yeah, the joy of learning for me and implementing new things and seeing myself improve from a technical, tactical, physical and mental aspect, and transferring the skills I'm learning onto the players. It's fantastic to see, and the amount of success we've had over the years, driven through process, leading to outcomes. But I just want to be the best that I can be. And people that know me when I first started coaching have seen the differences. And even now, every year, I get better and better, because I'll learn off the players coming in, I'll learn off the new coaches coming in, I'll watch other teams do something and I'll think, oh, that works. And you've got to adapt for different styles of players and different teams that you're playing against. So, and there's not one way to do everything. One coach will coach one way, one coach will coach the other way. Do you know what? Let the players try it out. Let's see what works best, because players will only make big improvements if they're allowed to fail first. And I think that's a big thing, giving them the freedom to try things, make errors, and seeing what really works for them.
Fab, we talk about growth mindset and fixed mindset a lot. And it's a conversation that comes up within sport, but also with coaches, but also general life as well. And I've always said, you can't measure growth mindset while you're winning, because you're winning. It's times like this when you're in isolation, times when actually your best players either out injured for the season. You know, it's times when things are going wrong that you can really reflect and measure whether you're a fixed mindset or a growth mindset person. Our conversations have always been very relatively growth mindset, about that learning, about that development. But that opportunity to allow players to fail still at a performance level, how do you manage that relationship, Dave, with them?
Yeah, I mean, I expressed it that we want to take some risks, calculated risks in games. But unless they've practiced and performed these skills in actual training sessions, they're not just going to go into a game and execute a great cut shot. They've got to really, really have the ability and repetition to practice what they're going to perform on a game day. So we'll go in and we have skill sessions during the day, which the undergrads participate in a lot. Building up confidence by practicing and repping it will then allow them to bring it into the games. And once they know they can do it and believe in it, so they build up the process of the skill, the outcome will come. Yes, there's a little bit more pressure in the game, but I want them to take them risks, because the player development and from when they come in to when they leave, that's the biggest thing for me. And the passionate for me is, yeah, they've gone out a much, much better volleyball player.
Okay. And we always talk about, and especially me with my mindset, is that you guys have such a major role to play on trying to get the athlete to be at their A game. And I always push you guys to turn around and say, well, are you guys on your A game as well? So how do you control your mindset? Do you have anything particular that you work on yourself that allows you to be on A game, that allows the players to be in a relaxed state, a confident state, but they're able to get closer to their game? Because we know not everybody's going to be on their A game all the time. It's not possible.
Yeah. Clearly, I use the reflection techniques a lot, but being preparation for every session, being on my A game, I'm very processed. Everything's on a whiteboard. I'll go sit down on the volleyball court 20, 25 minutes before, go through in my head exactly what we need to get out of the session, set people specific individual goals, get the players to talk about them goals during water breaks. And at the end of the session, the players then need to reflect, have we achieved what we want to achieve? And so my job is being focused, organized, prepared, rested, which I struggle with, as you know, and giving the players the best opportunity. Game days, Yeah, absolutely. I'm even calmer now than I ever was in the last 15 years. And that's crucial. Sometimes too calm, I think.
No, I don't think so. I like your calmness, and it's nice to see that you have, just started not take your foot off the accelerator, because the learning is still there, your drive is still there, your passion is still there. But again, the more relaxed you can be, the more rested you can be, then actually that allows you to be close to your game, because eventually that's all going to catch up with you, and then it leads to the athletes, and it leads to performance. So there's a huge knock-on effect. I'm going to throw a question out which I didn't think I'd ever ask in one of these sessions, but I was watching the SAS program last night. I don't know whether you watch it on Channel 4.
I didn't watch it, but I knew it was
Well,
on.
Joey Essex is on, and Joey doesn't necessarily come across as the brightest person ever, but actually he's come across quite well in this. And he said something last night that just resonated in my brain, and I know you're looking at me going, really? We turned around and said, nobody realizes how hard I work off camera to be Joey Essex. You see the stupid, the fun-loving, the kind of the social media Joey Essex, but you don't see what he does off the camera. And he got his top off. He's getting his top off last night, and it was David Bellew, who's was the heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah.
Turned around and went, "Oh my God, put those muscles away. How did you get so ripped?" And you don't get ripped by not working hard, at least spending some time in the gym. And you guys are no different, I don't think, in terms of how hard you guys work out of game time in order to prepare.
It's ridiculous. The coaching and the game time is the best part of it. The off-field stuff, logistics, travel, obviously the one-to-ones with the players, controlling the battles, obviously game planning, scouting. And this year, because everything's been on my own, it's been really difficult, where I used and hopefully we'll develop the program, bringing in my old scout man and my old assistant coach. They're crucial parts. You're only as good as the people around you. And my assistant and scout man were fantastic. And I'll tell that to everyone. You're not a one-man band. It's always a we, and that includes the players. But yeah, the amount of prep that goes into one team, never mind two, which I've done before, it's 80 to 100 hours a week. It's crazy.
I think everybody looks for that secret kind of ingredients to being a good coach. And I don't think there is any secrets. You just have to, one, have some passion. Two, you have to do some hard work. But that's the same for players, and it's the same for business execs. It's the same for good teachers. You can't get away from loving what you do, and you can't get away from having to put some hours in if you want to be the best and you want to be close to your A game.
Yeah, I cannot wait for the players to arrive this year. I'm so excited. We've got another Zoom call set up tomorrow, 15 of us, already really learning how we all operate, learning each other's traits, personalities, asking questions. So already developing something that isn't going to start for early as 3-4 months is fantastic. And this shows how much we're all missing it. And me and one of the postgrads coming in, we set up the Zoom meetings every 2 weeks. But my passion's always there, and players see that. I'll respond the same day that any player ever messages me. And one of my big values is being passionate and committed to everything I do, as well as clearly being organised. But biggest thing for me is being honest and open about everything that we do.
Yeah. And I certainly saw that from some of the girls who we worked with last year as well. And that was certainly being instilled into them in a way that they'd taken ownership. So you weren't dictated to them in the sense that you have to be passionate about volleyball. You could see it in their eyes, you could see it in their body language, the conversations we were having, it was there for them. And I think that's a key message for coaches, to really work on empowering the athlete, not only technically be good, but to love the sport a little bit and feel that they're free and can play with errors in their game and actually still move on from there. Mindset and mentality is key in terms of what you instill in terms of the teams and the players from the last year that we've worked together, Dave, as well. Why is it so important to you? I see a lot of technical coaches out there who just go technique, 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 technique. But you're a little bit more blended in terms of actually pulling all of the support services together to help.
Yeah, I think it's really important to deal with different situations across the season. Building up, it's sort of like a tool belt of everything: physical, psychological, your mindset, your technical, your tactical, makes the overall, not just player, but person, a better person. I really spend time on letting the players have a lot of ownership. and accountability. So yeah, they might make a mistake. You know what? They didn't mean to make a mistake. And I will ask questions like, what went wrong? I'm not going to just go, you did this, you did this, you did this. Make them think about what they're actually doing. Make them think about educating themselves, why they're training. And the way the two athletes that you're talking about have developed is frightening, because all they've ever done is been screamed at.
Yeah.
Screamed at and screamed at. And they're frightened to make mistakes. Now they're in an environment now where they know they can make a mistake and just put it aside, move on. They're not meaning to make the mistake. They just did something wrong, or they got outplayed, or they got aced by a great serve. So, yeah, making that mindset of the athlete, it's point by point by point. Yeah, I'm going to take a risk and I'm going to be positive. And this is what you can incorporate into practices.
I'm glad you used the word mentoring. Over the last 15, 20 years, I've spent so much of my time mentoring a variety of different coaches and business people. I still see that Kest coach. You know, is it Danny Glover or was it Brian Glover who was in Kest?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I still see him. It's 2020. I still see him from time to time.
Wow.
I don't think we're as bad. I think the coaching world in terms of education, especially high up the ladder, has been great. But I still think there's time to time we see this dads in tracksuit mentality of shouting and screaming and telling far too much. And once we can maybe dissolve that a little bit, the world of coaching might even evolve even quicker than it has done over the last decade. And I certainly see that from the likes of you guys, you know, in terms of the performance level, that engagement, that empowering. But communication is key to that, isn't it? And where do you get communication from?
Me personally, I mean, one of the first things I will ask the athletes, and clearly getting to know them, is how do they want to be coached? What gets the best out of them? Because every single player in this new 15-person squad will react differently to my communication. So I have to be extroverted, introverted, loud, quiet, technical, tactical. And I guess knowing the players is one of the things that I need to do first of all. And then responding to each given situation of my mannerisms, my personality, my communication skills, and when they need to know this and when just to keep quiet. Because they know. Like, you don't need to tell someone they made a mistake when they know the answer.
Yeah,
like it's just making them think more about it. They know. So
yeah, I still see a lot of
communication. Yeah, communication
who do that, where they have their basket of balls and they'll feed like 50 balls, and they'll be going good shot, good shot, good shot, good shot. Which that's no feedback, and then the player will make one mistake and they'll go, "Oh my God, what have you done?" Well, hold on, you just made 40 great shots. And you've made one mistake, and you're gonna. I was talking to Chris Thackeray, who's the ex-Italian football player on one of these, and he said "Non rompimi il coglione," which in Italian means "don't break my balls." You've hit 40 good shots, you've hit one error, and the first thing the coach does is jump on the one error. What about the 40 good shots? And you're right, that player knows they made that error. You don't need to be told again, do you?
And 9 times out of 10, they'll know why they made it.
Absolutely. Because so if you feed them the next ball straight away and they hit the next shot, good. Let it go. Because we're all going to make errors. Me and you can sit here and go, last year we made some errors, because we're human. It's okay to do that.
Yeah. And I have no problem with that. Move on. That point's gone. We know what went wrong. We'll fix it.
Absolutely. I am interested in terms of going back to this football and this volleyball thing. Have you ever had the volleyball organisation or other volleyball coaches or players going, "Well, Dave, you didn't play. You're a footballer. What do you know about volleyball?"
Yeah, absolutely. And then, as I said to them, I become the most qualified coach in this country. There's no one got a higher qualification than me in volleyball. Volleyball international level 3, which is like higher than you ever had. For a football perspective. I also have my UEFA football coaching. So, yeah, I mean, I played volleyball a little bit, but I had to learn so much of the technical aspects, and it's still learning. It took me 10 to 15 years to where I wanted to get to. And now I'm totally comfortable with every technical aspect of the game. But it doesn't mean I'm still not learning, so I am.
Yeah, and if you take away the technicalities of the sport, football kicking and volleyball using your hands, if you take away the technique, coaching's coaching. Communication is communication. Organisation is organisation. But you mentioned something before about better people. And I can't recall how many times in these 34 interviews we've talked about the fact that the New England All Blacks have that concept is better people make better All Blacks. But actually better people just make better people in general. It's that straightforward. So the more that you can work on the person and help and support the person, yes, they're going to be a better volleyball player. Yes, they're going to be a better coach, but hopefully they'll be a better person as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. The skills they can learn on the volleyball court or in team meetings, they can definitely take to the outside world and without a doubt make them better people. Absolutely.
Brilliant. So let's go back to 2012 then, because I want to ask a few questions about that, because I'm sure a few people will be really intrigued on that. We had Paul Regan on, who was the team manager for the Paralympic team in 2012 as well. And I know Paul for probably the last 20, 30 years. And he said it was just an incredible experience and an inspiration to him as an individual. Tell me some of the highlights from 2012 for you.
Yeah, I mean, clearly there was so many good highlights. I loved the build-up. We had a week's training camp in Loughborough, playing against Korea. We played against China and scrimmage games. And to get to see these people when you stood like 1 meter away from them and the quality level, not only the opposition, but the Great Britain girls and where they had come from. The whole journey of self-funding a team to get to the Olympic Games, which we were self-funding, was amazing. Cycling from Sheffield to London, raising money, backpacking, trying to get sponsors in. It was a real memorable event to literally walking out on the floor versus Russia in that first game. And so many people had sacrificed, the players, the full-time coaches, sacrificed so much of their education, family lives to live in Sheffield for years that, yeah, it was super proud to see them. And I was more thinking about them and what they've achieved to get here. And it was fantastic. We finished 9th out of 12, but the closing ceremony, dancing away. We didn't go to the opening ceremony because we played early the next day, so we didn't go. Yeah. Clearly, preparation's key, as you well know. But yeah, just the village itself, walking into the food lounge, sat next to Usain Bolt and Chris Hoy and all this. It's just, wow, who's it? Wow. You're just shell-shocked. Everyone's like super famous.
How did you keep your confidence in a moment like that? Because we can get a little bit shell-shocked with public personalities and world-class sports people, can't we? But you're there to do a job. You have to maintain your A game, your confidence. What we don't want is a big drainage from you, because again, we know that has an effect on players.
Yeah, it does. And you know me, I'm quite confident. For me, I just smile and yeah, take it all in. Not a lot phases me. Especially good things. Can get stressed when things aren't going well, but obviously working with you, I've had some mechanisms to help me with them. But yeah, everything that happened from the Olympics, from day one to the end, even though there were some really tough moments and the preparation of food shopping in Peru and traveling around Argentina and flights being delayed, you know what it's like when you're traveling. Just what's a remarkable experience, everything. And then, yeah, we finished 9th, like I said, and beat Algeria, the team we had to beat. So, yeah, 9th best in the world.
Brilliant. Great stories. There's two things I want to just pick you up on those. One is that I think outside of the world of Premiership football, everybody else doesn't understand how hard sports people have to work. So unless you're maybe top 20 in the world of tennis or maybe top 100 in the world of golf where you're making silly money, everybody else has to sacrifice things. Everybody has to kind of spend time away from family and give up things. I think the general public will only see the glorified events, you know, the nice cars or the nice travel, but, you know, shopping in Peru, pretty difficult, you know, having to raise your money to be able to go to the Olympics. Most people would just turn around and go, oh yeah, if you went to the Olympics, you'd have got paid and you'd have got this and you've got that and you'd be at nice hotels. And the reality is
20 of us moved into a fire station in Sheffield because we had no accommodation. 20 of us. And each day, this is how it happened. We had to release a player to make the final squad. And obviously that player would leave on the morning in front of everyone. Imagine the tears, the emotion that a team had been together for 3 years. And yeah, we're living in a fire station with just nobody there, just like standard meals. And I was the only guy, so there was 19 girls and me. So yeah, it was tough.
And you can't do that without passion and without commitment, and
No.
sacrifice, I guess, comes with it as well, doesn't it? So
it does. And let me say, the girls and the head coach, they were fantastic. Always checked in on me because they knew I was missing home. I'd moved down. Everything was voluntary for me. I did everything voluntary. So again, people think, Olympic coach gets paid a fortune. No, I did everything for voluntary. So yeah.
And I love that in terms of what you give back, because you have to give something to get something. And I think far too many coaches just rely on the fact that I'm a coach now, I'm going to be a coach, I need to get paid money for it. In order to get your best learning, you need to go and find the people who are sitting above you in the pyramid and just learn. And if you have to give up 10 hours a week, or you have to give up 6 months of your life, if you want to be at that level, and that's where your passion really has to come from. If you want to be that good, you have to do that. Otherwise, you're just going to be one of the really good coaches that works below that pyramid level and just plays there. You know, your drivers have to be much more important to you if you're going to get there.
Totally agree. And I learned so much off the head coach, Audrey Cooper. She challenged me in all the right ways to get better and to learn things. And we actually developed such a good relationship that she came up to Northumbria and carried on working for the next 4 years with me at Northumbria. And some of the England girls, at least 5 of the England girls, travelled to play at Northumbria University, and they were travelling from Essex, from Derby, from Nottingham, because they wanted to be part of the best programme. And yeah, so it just shows.
It does. And the other thing I just wanted to finish on that one was that when everybody's watching this video, when I asked that question about London 2012, just look at your face, Dave, when you tell the story. Life is about stories. It's about experiences. And as soon as you tell somebody that kind of story, it lights you up, doesn't it? And it makes that passion comes back straight away, and you can see it. I see it visually, even though we're on a Zoom call, but I see it face to face when we're working at Durham. And for anybody who's watching this video, when I ask that question, just watch your face, because it's all there. That's all I need to know. I'm going to finish off with one thing. I'm just conscious of time, and obviously, even though we're in isolation, everybody's just busy with all of these kind of components. And the storytelling is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this, to share these moments with other people. If you are a young coach coming through, let's say it's your very first volleyball qualification, level 1. Now that you've done as much as you've done, Dave, what would you give yourself in terms of top tips? Give me 3 top tips you would give your old self now in order for you to maybe be a better coach in the future.
Reflect on everything that you do in the session. Write it down. What went well, what didn't go well, what you can change. Yeah. Definitely think about scenario planning. So what if you planned the session and it's not going great? You must have, and I do this now but didn't then, backup plans. Okay? And then always plan for incidents. That's the second thing. Speak slower, be calm. I used to be a shouter, use really quick. And then as you've seen me coach now, I'm very, very placid and quite calm. Speak to the players calmly.
Good. Well, you only have so much emotional energy. And if you're in the 5th game and it's maybe tied at 16-17 all, and the pressure's on a little bit, and it's a big game, it's a season-winning game, you need all of your energy. And if you've wasted it in game 1 by shouting and screaming and running up and down the touchline, maybe you're shot by the time you get to that stage. So they're going to be just as tired.
The games definitely can be mentally and physically draining for us. They can, because you're just thinking. So yeah, you're right.
Brilliant. And I would add one on there. Have a coach yourself, have a mentor yourself, have somebody who you can go and talk to, because you can't carry that burden and all of those stresses yourself. And we have such a great team at Durham in terms of sharing what we do on a Friday and allowing that psychological safe zone that, it's okay for us to open up and say how we got it wrong, or maybe things that we need to work on ourselves, that allows you guys as coaches just to, to accelerate your own development, which is fab.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was Audrey all the way through. And yeah, she did a fantastic job. So I still speak to my assistant coach 4 times a day.
Good. Love
4
that.
times every day.
Love that. And we all need that. And then I'm no different to you guys in terms of I have somebody who I have to go and see in a variety of different guises. And one of my property mentors was on the first week with the business group. And we need those people just to bounce things back. It might not even to be about gaining any more knowledge. It might just be about, I need a bit of security and a bit of confidence. Was that the right thing at that right moment in time? So brilliant. Yeah. Love that. I'm going to wrap it up there, Dave. Thank you very much. For everybody else, subscribe. Share it around the volleyball world. This is a brilliant little interview. Great insight into a coach that's been in the 2012 Olympics, but also made the transitions from one sport to another. So, Dave, thank you very much. Hopefully everybody will enjoy it. Great stories. I love that smile on your face when you talk about the 2012 Olympics. And if there's a young coach who's watching, maybe that's what they'll aspire to be in terms of a future Olympic coach in this country, which would be great for us, wouldn't it?
Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you, Graham. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, and speak soon.